Also, Harambee Starlets will also be checking where Portugal got it right and defeated the likes of Lamine Yamal. FKF Premier League title race. Na kuna wenye wanauliza Beldino Demba, is she the coach of Harambee Starlets? Ni wapi, nani ndo nani? Because we're also waiting for the official statement from the from the Kenya Football Kenya Federation. Anyway, let's get it started. Anne, how are you?
I'm very well. Kahoma tu, but I'm doing well.
Oh my God, ni kama iko na kila mtu.
Ni kama kuna kitu. Kuna kitu.
Except Arocho. Piga zoezi. Arocho vipi?
I'm okay. Another lovely week. I'm expecting a lot this week in terms of the game, and I believe that things will be well.
Speaking of things will be well, Harambee Stars and the likes Harambee Stars led by Bini Makadi, yet to win.
Well,
Chad is here.
I think it's a transition, if you ask me. The team, he's had 3 different teams, if you ask me, in the 3 matches that he's played. The first team, of course, he was still very new. He didn't really get to know what was happening. The second match, he lost against Togo, another strong opponent. And this match that he picked a draw against Chad, a relatively new side, composed of mostly local players. And that's where my question comes in. Are we really ready for Chan with the team? We've been discussing a lot of issues concerning the stadiums, the fact that is Kenya ready as far as the infrastructure is concerned. But I think we forgot to talk about the team. And I believe that it's quite evident. And I hope that tomorrow, when we are playing Chad again, we'll see great improvement. Look at what the coach said after the match. He said that these players should know that they are no longer playing the league. They're playing on an international stage. But a lot of issues will be discussed. Is our league really up to standard? I believe our league is still very low as far as standards are concerned, and that's why what we are producing from our league in the national team is not performing. So we need to go back and look at our league, look at why our league is not really ticking, and correct that. Though it might be late for Chan, because I think it's a month or 2 before the tournament kicks off. But as we prepare for AFCON, we really need to look at our league, reassess our league, and look at ways to improve the league in Kenya.
Aroch is saying, are we ready as a team? Because we're focusing much on the stadiums, we're focusing much on the infrastructure. But as a team, as Harambee Stars, are we ready for Chan?
I think, to just echo what he said, for the first time I've heard Benny McCarthy talking negatively about Harambee. He's usually very positive. Yes, we're building. But when it came to this match, he said what Arocho has just said, that these players are playing like they're playing in the Premier League. They don't understand that this is internationally. But in my opinion, I think our biggest downfall in the game against Gabon, the one that was home, was our defense and our number 6 and our transition from defense to attacking. And when I was watching this game, there was a very huge difference. The likes of Alfonso Mija, the likes of Daniel Sakari are very solid in midfield, in defense. Yeah. And even the transition from defense to midfield, this guy, Brian Mandela, he played a very crucial role. I think our biggest issue in that game was finishing. Defensively, we were strong, but the transition now from the midfield to the striking and the finishing, Moses Shuma had a couple of chances on goal. He did not convert. Austin Othiambo entered the game. He had a couple of shots. He did not convert. So I think for us, our biggest issue again is how clinical we are. So in the matter regarding whether we're ready for Chan, I think our biggest issue is just, can we get a striker who can finish?
Speaking of striker and speaking of players, I don't know if you guys were satisfied with the squad selection. I know Victor Wanyama was part of the Bini McCarthy's plan, but then Victor came out and said, due to personal problems, then I wouldn't be joining the team. Arocho, are you satisfied with the squad selection?
Well, yes, I think I'm satisfied with the selection, because I'd like to know this particular player who was not picked in this team. I look at the way we played. I'll echo our sentiments that our transition was quite slow. we are still transiting as if we are playing in the league. We need to know that in the international stage, when we get our chances, we have to take them. But I still go back to the quality of the league. Why am I really emphasizing on the quality of the league? Look at the fact that these days it's rare to have the best of this region playing our league. There are times that we had the best in the likes of Serunkuma, the likes of Godfrey Walusimbi, who came from Uganda. We had Tuyisenge playing in Rwanda. So basically, our league could attract the best within our region. But currently, our league is not attracting anyone, not even from South Sudan. In fact, we are even exporting. Yes, we are even exporting players to Somalia. For me, we should be concerned that our league is not attracting the best within our region. The reason why the English Premier League is that glamorous, it's because the English Premier League attracts the best world all over. So that by the time you're playing in the English Premier League, you are the best of the best. But when we have a league that we only have local-based players, lacking of a better word, it doesn't really spice up that league. So when your league is somehow low in quality, then what you produce from that league in the national team is not really up to the standard. Why did we even have to have Brian Mandela in that team? It's because I think that the coach was not sure that the kind of defenders that we have in our league could hold such pressure. Yeah. You understand? And now this is very dangerous because as we move towards CHAN, we'll have to play players who are playing at home. And yet we are playing at home. So basically, we have to strike a balance as a country to make sure that we have lucrative offers for players so that we can attract guys into the league. This league is down as far as quality is concerned, and we have to accept that.
I think for me, I had a very big problem with selection for two reasons. This international friendly was to set path for the CHAN. So for him not to call under 20 players, for him to call Brian Mandela. You see, for me now I'm arguing, okay, you've played this international friendly with Brian Mandela in 6, who was very strong in that position. How do you come again and pick another one locally? How do you get a number 6 who runs the midfield locally and you could not test them against Chad?
And many Kenyans were also expecting to see a lot of prodigies, the likes of Kevin Wangaya in that squad, the likes of the players who I had the under 20. When
Coach Benny was asked about that, he said they've just come from camp. But you see, that is not realistic because they've also been playing their home matches. The likes of Kelly Madada, they've been playing their home matches. So how do you say they need to rest? It's just 2 weeks. I think it's a 2-week camp. They're coming back. They're playing another friendly, then they come back. So since you're going to, the final squad of Chad should be announced by July 22nd, just 1 month. And you can see already the league is ending in June 20-something due to these friendly matches. So for me, I feel like that would have been a very good, not even, he would have just taken 2 players. Hata kama wataka kwa bench waingie 5-10 minutes, that would have made a very big difference, even in terms of their confidence. So for him not to select under 20 players, for him to leave out some players who would have added value to the game, I think that was a big issue. And
before you listen to Bini Makadhi, speaking after that barren draw, or rather that stalemate, Arocho, tomorrow against Chad, second leg of the friendly?
I think now the players have now really warmed up because I believe that it took them time to settle in that match. I believe that in the match coming up tomorrow, most of these players will have settled. But having said that, I think as a country, we also need to appreciate the fact that our technical ability is also one thing. I say this with a lot of pain because I think most of the coaches around are not yet ready for such an uphill task. And this is the reason why our league, once again, I'm going to say it's way low there. Look at the fact that most of our coaches are CAF A, in the Premier League that is, are CAF A holders. and look at the performance that is coming from that league. I think we need to just revitalize this league, get a way of having a refresher for these coaches so that we can produce the best. Because currently, once again, I'm going to say to this show, our league is way down there, and we have to do something radical to make sure that we're up to standards around us. Yeah. Look at Uganda, look at Tanzania. Simba Sports Club played in the finals of the Confederations Cup the other day. Yanga played in the quarterfinals of the Champions League in the group stage. So basically, we are surrounded with teams that cannot even win friendlies. I was hearing someone, someone yesterday was saying that why is Kenya playing Chad? Yeah. Who else will Kenya play? Because Tanzania cannot play Kenya. Tanzania is so busy playing in Kosafa.
I mean, they don't want to play against Kenya because Kenya is,
yes,
in terms of the points.
Yes, in terms of our rankings. Our neighbors are slightly ahead of us, and they're doing so well in the CAF competitions. Look at Uganda. Yes, they're somehow struggling like us, but Uganda has been consistent in qualifying for the AFCON. So basically, we don't have our peers around us. Perhaps Somali, Sudan, Eritrea. But when you want to be serious as far as the game is concerned, we don't have our peers around us.
Do you have a club that can produce 8 players, national team players? Because for me, I believe when you are building a national team, you also have to focus on key players, like 5 from one team.
Consistency.
Do you have 6 players from one club?
I think before she responds, yep. Consistency is not there. Look at the fact that I think, I don't know if you guys were born by then. In 1987, when Kenya played in the finals of the All-African Games, yes. 8 players came from Gor Mahia.
From Gor Mahia.
David Ochieng, Tobias Ochola, the likes of Peter Dow, the likes of George Fundi Onyango. So basically, when you have 8 players, and I'll support your point, when you have a strong team coming from the club, it's just a matter of yes. Picking it from here and fixing it here. Yeah. But when you have players scattered all over, because I don't know which team has the most players.
I think in this
is it police?
Police.
Of course.
Police had 5.
But you look at the police kind of team, most of them are leaving the stage, are somehow leaving the stage. Out, yeah. So we don't have that conveyor belt. The transition is not really smooth. So I'll say it once again. We need to sit down as a country, assess ourselves, and look at where we need to improve. She talked about the under-20. I support her. We needed to have at least players who did something yes. In Cairo.
Although I have a question. Is Wanga eligible to play for Chan without a club locally?
Yes, he can play because he's not playing outside the country. Okay. But Wangaya has somehow a disadvantage. Yes. The fact that he's not attached, yes. for me, is a disadvantage. It's a disadvantage because when somebody comes to pick you yes. and you are not attached, he'll really think about picking you as a player. So he needs to get attached, even if it's KCB, even if it's Shabana yeah. for 3 months, or even if it's Gor Mahia, within so that your value goes up there when you're in the international market.
On the spotlight. Yes. I asked a question, then Arocho came in.
I think he's majorly covered all the areas, but in this selection, I think Police had the highest number of players, Sakari, Bajaber, and the likes of the others. But if you look at it, this Police squad is winning the title for the first time if they win. This squad, they're playing together for the first season. So for a national team to come and pick 5 players of a team that was formed this season, it means that there's something absolutely wrong with whatever is happening in the Premier League. Because personally, I would have thought that Gor Mahia would be the ones to produce a lot of players, but for them not to produce and Police to come and overtake them in the number of players that were selected. Also for Austin Osiambo, I think Austin Osiambo was the one selected after Wanyama was dropped. So I was just like, okay, what game are we playing? Are we going to be able even to play Chan with this kind of... How do you select somebody after dropping somebody else? What mentality does it... At Austin Osiambo, by the time he's stepping on the pitch, he knows I was just a replacement.
But also you need to ask himself why he's not really the first choice, because there's that type of host, the Ambo.
Yes.
But then when it comes to team selection or other national team selection, he's not there to be seen. Anyway, let's move on to our national team. That is our national team, the women's side. That is Harambee Starlets. 5-0, 5-1 again against Morocco, and they're also preparing for the SECAFA that's set to take place this week. Maybe a few days to come. Well,
I think there's a lot.
Is there even a coach?
There's a lot that is not being said within this team. Look at the fact that there was a go-slow just before the team left for Morocco. Look at the fact that we played so well in the first half, conceded, I think, 4 goals in the second half. That one will tell you a lot about a team.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that the coach, Beldin, is not really, for lack of a better word, has lost her dressing room. Look at the fact that the best player, the top scorer of the Egyptian Ladies Premier League is not in that team. There are several players who missed in that team. If you ask me, it says a lot. You remember when we played Tunisia, and I made a lot of noise about the team selection, the fact that we had several players that we brought from Europe or from elsewhere and did not play that much when we played in Nairobi.
First 11.
Yes, in the first leg.
You made a lot of noise.
I made a lot of noise. Yeah. And me, Mutua, and anybody else who's watching, I don't mind when I become controversial, and yet I know I'm saying the right thing. Because when we played in Tunis, she did some corrections, and we won. So for me, winning is everything. Wewe ukichika feelings, wewe anachika feelings, because Arocho said what I said. But when she did what we said, several people said, we picked a win.
Yes.
So basically, the several players who were not in that team, I don't want to mention them because I feel that when I mention them, they get victimized. I mentioned Mora as the player who missed in Nairobi, yet she was called. And then when the team was going to Morocco, Mora was not there. Yet Mora is performing. I was there in Cairo when Mora scored 2 goals in her last match to become the top scorer of that league. So why I don't want to mention individual players because I feel that they get victimized. But I'll have to say this, if a player is good, give him a chance.
Okay, we are going to take a short break, but then usiondoke because we are going to come with a lot. Harambee Starlets, FKF Premier League title race, because the FKF Premier League matches will resume immediately after the international break. Portugal winning the UEFA Nations League, and also the transfer window is going where? Yesterday tulisikia Luis Van Gaal akisema Manchester United is not a football club, rather it's a commercial club. Let's take a short break. We're going to discuss a lot. Tukirudi.
Our world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's mind. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth. As long as it is strong,
and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home, do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health.
Karibu tena, this is Monday Blitz. My name is Duncan Mtua, Freda Rocho, and Miss Washira, usually call her Miss Washira. We are currently discussing matters to do with sports. We were talking about Harambee Starlets and their performance, team selection, whether the coach is still the coach of the Harambee Starlets, because people are saying, you know, Beldino Demba she's no longer the head coach of Harambee Starlets. And what next? Sekafa is awaiting in the few days to come.
First of all, we're not ready for Sekafa.
But we have the squad.
We have the squad, yes, but we're not ready because there's a lot of talk on social media. Even a lot of people are wondering, do we have a coach for that, that tournament? Is Vijago going to come and take the squad? Yes, he's been part of the technical bench of the under-21, and I think also he served as the technical bench in the Harambee Stars.
So under-17.
Yes,
coach.
Yes, he has served, but you see, taking a new coach as you're entering a tournament, which actually, the confirmation that we are going to participate in this tournament was done very late because it has clashed with Mozart Bet. Because now that they're participating, I think...
So can we come and say, no, we are not participating because it's late?
No, it's value addition. Yeah. We cannot say no.
Accepting late invitation.
No, it is okay. I don't think it was late invitation. I feel like, okay, fine, late invitation, but this will add value to the players, regardless of whether we are going without a coach, whether we are going without an organized team. It is value addition, so we cannot say we're not going. But now going into a competition like that with a new coach, who's probably going to bring a new squad. And then also there's a problem in the women's football where we're taking coaches of Premier League teams. You see, if you take a coach like Beldin, who's coming from police, obviously there's bias towards that side. Same thing, you're taking Vijago, who has been the head coach of Kibera Soccer, and bringing him to the national team. Like, as a team, as a country, are we so poor that we cannot be able to outsource or even get a national team coach? Not outsource. Outsource from the Premier League.
No.
Outsource from the Premier League.
Differ.
Okay. Can we be able to get a coach outside the Premier League to come and stand in as the head coach? Because there will be a problem with squad selection. There will always be bias. People will always complain. And then also for Beldin, I feel like she's a wonderful coach. She has proven time and time again,
she's a great
especially with police. She did the first season unbeaten, and she's come to this season and won again. So I think for Beldin, I think maybe just she doesn't have luck with that team, and also her squad selection is terrible.
Arocho, I feel like we need to have a coach who focuses only on matters Harambee Starlets.
Yes.
Not today I'm with Kenya Police, or rather today I'm with the Police Bullets and Kibra Soccer Ladies. Yeah. Tomorrow again niko na under-17. Hiyo ingine tena niko na
under-20. Ama niko na Talanta.
Do we need to outsource a coach? Well, or just focus on one coach?
Well, before I respond to your question, I really need to debunk a statement that she's just made. You know, we need to believe in ourselves, in our own. We cannot. The Women's Soccer League has not really developed to an extent that we need to outsource a coach outside our bound.
Outside the Premier League.
Yes, but now outside the Premier League, who else can we bring? But coming back to your question, I think Beldin has just been overwhelmed.
Yes.
Look at her selection.
Yes.
At times she feels that perhaps we as journalists are hard on her, but at times she picks a lot of duties and it becomes difficult for her to even digest what she has. There's a time she was coaching more than 2, 3 teams.
Plus an academy.
You know, basically, you just need to pick one as a coach. You know, there are other jobs that you can have 3 or 4 jobs running within your space. But as a coach, you cannot really maneuver having 3+ teams. That time she was coaching I think the under 20. No.
Under 20, yes.
Under 20. Under 17 was Mildred.
Yeah.
She was doing, is it Upper Hill?
Yes.
She was doing police,
yes.
Highway, sorry. So basically all this was too much for her. Yeah. And when she failed, well, if she could be doing well with these teams, then well and good. But when you start stumbling, people start looking for issues around it. I still believe that having a coach within the Premier League, Ladies Premier League, if you're a professional and you know that your success depends on the kind of quality that you bring in, then why not? Because look at the fact that we have several players playing outside, ladies playing outside the country. Yes. When you bring all this talent together, and you field, I'll support our sentiments that her fielding will also be having issues. Look at the players that missed in the first leg when we played Tunisia. Yeah. Me, that's when I started having issues with our selections. Yes. Because we had 4 good players who sat out. If you feel that you don't need these players, why do you call them? I like the fact that when we went to Morocco, she didn't call Mora. If she knew very well that Mora is not going to play, yes, don't call her. But how is Mora performing in Egypt? How is Shikangwa performing in Tanzania? How come they're scoring goals in Tanzania week in, week out, scoring goals in Egypt week in, week out, and yet when she comes to the national team, she cannot even start in a team that could not even have 5 shots on goal when we played Tunisia here.
Okay, let's listen to one of the players after they played that friendly against Morocco. Let's listen to one of the players.
At least mmetupangia kitu ya kufanya. So na believe tuko like tuna learn cheza zote na pia ya leo kwa team naweza sema tumelearn a lot kulingana na timu yetu bado tunaibuild. So wenye wamejoin team wamelearn. So itatusaidia kwa game yenye iko mbele yetu at least. Hiyo naweza sema imetusaidia a lot. Federation wazidi kutupa hata friend lingine. Bado tuko hapa kulearn. Football ni kulearn.
Harambee Starlets players, they are giving their post-match interviews. Wasema at least umetutafutia kitu ya kufanya, at least umetukeep busy, at least pia umetupia that exposure. Tukiachana na Harambee Starlets as they continue to prepare for the SECAFA tournament set to take place very soon.
Next week.
Days to come, next week. Tuangalie the race to the Football Kenya Federation Premier League. Tusker, Gor Mahia and even Kenya Police. Washira is smiling because nametaja Kenya Police. Tuangalie the table. Kenya Police currently leading with 61 points, Gor Mahia 55, Tusker FC 55 waliachilia after kupigwa 7. Kakamega Ombo is 54, Shabana. There's a time they believed that they can win the title, but now they are no longer believing that they can win. FC Leopard number 6 after that barren draw against Gor Mahia in the derby. A quick one on whatever we are seeing on the screen.
I said it before and I will say it again. The minute Gor Mahia collected a draw, Kenya Police are already in. Because we are left with 2 games. Gor Mahia is facing Ulinzi and facing Kenya Police. Kenya Police is facing Shabana and Gor Mahia. So even if we pick a draw, hata tukienda Shabana ishe 0-0, tumeshinda.
Arocha mathematically.
No, the league is gone. No. The
Kenya Police can lose.
Especially even Zedekiah. He said, now we are done, let us focus on Mozambique.
But there's a possibility if Kenya Police
but if your coach
there's a matter.
Coach has said, what do you do? See, they're only focusing now on...
It's a mathematical chance, but for me, the league is gone. Congratulations once again to Police FC. The consistency, the 2 seasons that Police has brought in good players is now paying off. I think Gor Mahia did not lose the league in Homa Bay. I think Gor Mahia lost the league when they lost against City Stars. Yes. That for me was a disaster. Yes. You cannot be a league contender losing against a team that is struggling to remain in the league. Gor Mahia should have picked 3 points against City Stars. Gor Mahia should have picked 3 points against Muranga Seal, and that's why they slipped. I feel that the transition within Gor Mahia, the inconsistency, coaching, bring this coach, bring Zico back, for me has costed them the league. Congratulations once again to Police FC. Nyale, Munga, you're doing a very good job at Police FC. The stability that the chairman of Police FC has brought into that team is out of this world. And for Police, it's not about winning the league. For Police is how they are going to play in the Champions League in the next season. You don't just win the league and get kicked out in the preliminaries. You understand?
Yeah.
So Police should not celebrate much, because winning the league for me is not a big thing. The big thing is how are you going to get into the money bracket? Because in the Champions League, if you get into the money bracket, you talk about 100 million plus.
Yes, yes.
You understand? That's what Police should be looking at now. How to recruit players who can be consistent and make sure that when they move into the Champions League, they are not dropped in the preliminaries. They at least get into the group stages where they will start swimming in money. That is the challenge for Police FC.
Do you think they have what it takes? Currently, with their current squad?
Yes, the experience is there. The Mugunas of this world, they have the experience. Where I still feel that I'm still not sure is the coaching staff.
Yes.
The new coach, I've not really watched Police in their new outfit, so I cannot really say, but I hope and believe that they're going to beef up that team to be ready for the continental assignments, not only to represent us, no. They should be there to make sure that they move to the group stages.
And watu wengi wanauliza what next for Gor Mahia. Gor Mahia will be facing Nai Boys in the Nicholas Muyoti led side Nai Boys in the Mozart Cup final. If Gor Mahia loses, wakipoteza hii game.
That, I feel like for me, that is what Gor Mahia are looking forward to. They've already said bye-bye to the league, so this is the competition they are fighting for. So for Nairobi United to come and win the league, that will be unheard of. Although I've heard Arocho saying they will do something that has never been done before. But I really doubt that Nai Boys will come and win the match. I think that, for me, Gor Mahia will take the point.
They have defeated the top flight football teams.
Nairobi United
Marashuga is not top flight.
No.
They have beaten Tusker.
Wait. Nairobi United is not a pushover.
Yes.
Nairobi United is currently being coached by the best coach in this country,
Nicholas
Muyoti.
Yeah.
Nairobi United beat
Nicholas Muyoti was
KCB.
also coaching City Stars.
Wait, no, City Stars, they lost it when they lost their financial
Remember, I finished second with the Kakamega Homeboys.
financial muscle.
There's kuna time, yeah.
Homeboys, no, Nairobi United beat Homeboys, beat KCB, beat Tusker, and beat Mara.
Marashuga.
Don't just look at Nairobi United as a team that it will be easy to drive off the ladder in the finals. I believe that it is going to be a strong finals, and anything can happen in that finals.
Okay.
Yes.
Tuangalie whatever something else yenye happen yesterday before the match. Nilikuwa naona there's those videos na pictures zenye wanaekanga player clear halafu wanasema this is tomorrow. Then kulikuwa na pictures za Cristiano Ronaldo reactions wakisema tomorrow, but then after the UEFA Nations League final tena nikaona pictures zingine. Now everyone is praising Cristiano Ronaldo, the longevity that he's been there for more than 20, and those pictures yesterday night after Cristiano lifting the second UEFA Nations League title.
Yes.
Benitez akiwa coach pia, wengi walikuwa na underestimate Benitez. Well, ndio hiyo na pia Spain 25 matches without kupoteza game na wakakuja wakapiga.
My main highlight was not even the finals. The playoffs for me was the best match. Though kudos to Ronaldo. Ronaldo has shown that resilience is everything.
Age is just
I heard him in an interview. I think one of the players who was playing in his team said that Ronaldo is exceptional. Training starts at 8. You are there by 6. Ronaldo was there by 5. So Ronaldo is not just any other player. And that's why he's been able to keep that shape, the kind of fitness and the form that he still have. But once again, I'm going to say, the match Germany playing against France in the playoffs, that was the match. I saw real football. And I'm seeing the emergence of young players who are going to rock football world in the next 10 or so years. I'm not trying to take anything out of the finals, but my match was the playoffs where Germany lost to France, and for me, it's an indicator that big things are coming.
Nuno Mendes, the likes of Vitinha playing for Portugal.
Well, I think Spain were beaten on the virtue of experience, nothing more. Because if you look at the squad that was playing in Portugal, the likes of Ronaldo, Vitinha, Bruno Fernandes, so that midfield was very solid. And the problem I usually say, and I usually say with even Barcelona, they are unable to take chances. Finals are a game of chances. The minute you lose chances, the minute you don't score, the minute you don't perform in front of the goal, Portugal had less chances than Spain. But Portugal, every time they were in front of the goal, they came very close. And that was the difference. And then, of course, this game went on until the end. And you see, for penalties, you can't really tell who's going to win. So it was a very nice, a very hard-fought game. But for Spain to lose in the finals, that was just bad luck.
But then, towards build up to the game, it was Cristiano against Lamine Yamal, and then people were saying, this one is an old man against a 17-year-old.
Cristiano said this, and he said this about Lamine Yamal. He said, Lamine is young. He has his whole life ahead of him. He has his whole career. So the minute you start putting unnecessary, unwanted pressure on Lamine Yamal, he could crumble. But also Lamine Yamal, he stepped up. He showed what he's made of. It was not Lamine against Ronaldo. In fact, that duel was not seen. But in terms of teams, Lamine really played a big role, and so has Ronaldo. Ronaldo, so he scored. He scored the goal that
the equalizer. The second goal, yeah.
Yes. So it was not Lamine versus Ronaldo per se. It was Portugal versus Spain.
Mendes.
Because even if you look at it, Mendes, Vitinha, Bruno, there were so many other good players.
Arocho, sijisikia Arocho akiongelea kuhusu Lamine Yamal. Leo tunataka tukusikie. Because there's that type, tulisikia.
He's a promising player, but I think he carries the ball too much. He might pick an injury because he doesn't have that speed. You cannot compare him to the real Cristiano Ronaldo when Ronaldo was his age. You look at the current Ronaldo, he's been slowed down by various injuries that he picked.
Yeah.
I think Yamal should be letting the ball go as fast as possible because the more he carries that ball, he'll pick an injury that will slow him down. But he's an exceptional player. With his age, I believe that the sky is the limit for that young man who plays very beautiful football, though he needs to release that ball way early.
I think Yamal is more of a Messi than a Ronaldo in the sense that if you see how Messi carries the ball, that's what I think La Masia tries to drill into them. Carrying the ball progressively, positive possession. So with Lamine Yamal, yes, he carries the ball a lot, but if you look at him, every time he carries the ball, they have more chances to score than when he doesn't, when he releases the ball. So yes, it is it is a negative in terms of injuries, in terms of gameplay, but also if you have watched the games in Barcelona, a lot of the chances created have come from him.
Well, the reason why I'm saying so, the kind of play for Yamal, he exposes the ball a lot because the ball is mostly on his left leg towards the opponent. But that's why I feel that Messi is different. Messi has the ball between his legs, so it's easy even to protect that ball. That's why I feel I cannot compare Messi to Yamal in terms of protecting my ball or in terms of picking injuries. But time will tell. I feel that he needs to release the ball way early.
But the modern kind of football, do we need such kind of players who stay with the ball?
I think the only issue I'm having with Yamal is that he only uses his left. His right foot is practically dead. So what happens with a player like that, when a coach comes in, who is a coach who's playing against you, it's very easy to block you off. It's very easy to defend against you.
All right, we are done with the UEFA Nations League. But then people are saying league imeisha, like most of the focus is the transfer window. Before the transfer window, we're also looking at kuna tournament inakuja, Club World Cup. Yeah. Teams na prepare, teams are calling in players, they are signing. Tuliona some key players wanaenda, wengine wanaingia. Alan has been following up. Aliachana na stories za ball. Karibu Alan.
Zilikuwa karibu kumuua.
Ali lakini Uliacha stories za bala after that nimechuja.
I've been your local basketball person. Leo nimegeuka your local Fabrizio Romano.
Anyway, yesterday Louis van Gaal saying, you know, if you look at the likes of Manchester United, the likes of Manchester United, clubs like Manchester United, the kind of players that they are signing, United is not a football club, it's a commercial club. You look at Tottenham, after even winning the after winning the Europa League, wakamwa Postecoglou is no he's not the kind of coach that we are going to keep. Wengi wakashangaa. But then transfer window tuko na nini inakaje?
It's quite exciting because right now clubs are not only preparing for next season. We're seeing clubs like Man City go for players, Chelsea, because of the Club World Cup. And if my director can just show you what's going on, you can see, for example, the likes of Man City have already gone for Tijani Reinders. I think this is a player with so much potential. Don't forget De Bruyne is leaving. We have them going for Ryan H-Nouri all the way from Wolves. We also have your Manchester United going for Matheus Cunha. And I just want to hear what Arocho has to say about that specific signing of Matheus Cunha from Wolves to Liverpool, Arocho.
To Manchester United. Well, it's a good catch. I've even posted it on my Facebook just moments ago that if I'm dreaming, please don't wake me up. We need to have such players. But unfortunately, players of this kind don't really operate at United.
Yes.
I had there's a time that United brought in a very good player in Johan Sebastian Veron, a very good complete midfielder, but he never took at United. So I hope that Cunha will settle and tick at United, because several players have come at United and it has been their disappointment.
And I feel like United need to sign those players who are not from the big clubs. You're not going to bring a player from Bayern Munich, mlete Manu.
Yes.
Ukiangalia pia United hawachezi Champions League, hawachezi Europa League, hawachezi Conference League. So they have to go for the mid-table clubs, best players, halafu wakuje.
I don't think that's what Manchester United are good at.
You have to build from something.
That's why Van Gaal says it's a commercial. They like the big names. They like the highlights. There's that prestige that comes with Old Trafford. No. For example, look at Mbeumo.
But the glory is gone now.
Who is Van Gaal?
Who will come now?
No, who is Van Gaal?
Van Gaal is one of the best coaches.
Won the FA Cup. Who have messed up this team. David Moyes and Van Gaal are the people who have brought Manchester United where they are.
However,
are courtesy of the likes of Van Gaal. No, but when
they fired him second in the
Sir Alex Ferguson left, David Moyes came in, and Van Gaal with his notes full of notes. He's writing notes for 90 minutes.
No, listen.
Since Ferguson left, I think Van Gaal has been the best.
You won the FA Cup.
Minus Mourinho.
Okay,
because he came, finished second. Mourinho finished second with the squad and said, that was the
best thing.
Manchester United is not a team that when you finish second will pat you on your back. No.
But
what team are you? 15. You finished 16th, I don't know, 15.
No, but what team I'm not talking about United at the moment. We are not talking about United.
Transfer.
There's nothing to talk about.
Another interesting one.
Okay.
Another interesting one. Jeremy Frimpong. You know, of course, with Trent Alexander-Arnold leaving for Madrid, Jeremy Frimpong comes from Leverkusen. He brings that experience. Okay, not experience. That burst of pace.
They're buying the league. The kind of players. Even Florian Wirtz is coming in.
Not yet, but somehow. But
we might witness a lot of players leaving Leverkusen after the exit of Xavi.
Yes.
Do you think Frimpong has it in him to replace Trent?
You see, there's usually a difference between the level of football played in the Premier League and the one played there. So you just have to wait and see.
Yes.
You just have to wait and see.
Frimpong might be very good. You know, there are certain players who play so well in other leagues.
Yes.
But you know, the English Premier League
it's a different
ball game altogether.
Like Timo Werner.
Yes.
Trent Alexander-Arnold
went to Madrid.
Left.
Exactly. He had the future.
New challenge.
New challenge doesn't work for everyone.
I don't think you get a Real Madrid offer every season.
Let me tell you, not everyone is meant for Real Madrid.
No, I don't think.
Look at Coutinho. Look at Eden Hazard.
I don't think you get a Real Madrid offer.
How many players who have come from the English Premier League who went to the Spanish League and still excelled?
Exactly.
A lot.
In fact, name me three players. Name me three. None. Don't compare Cristiano Ronaldo to any player.
Gareth Bale.
Okay, you might. Give me a third one.
Gareth Bale had more than 8 seasons at Real Madrid.
Okay, now this one, I like Arocho and how he speaks about strikers. Liam Delap, Ipswich,
Very
Chelsea.
good signing.
Very good player.
It's a good signing, but Well, for me, Ipswich, with the lack of a better word, is a decimal side. He might be performing so well in a decimal side. But at Chelsea, well, let's wait and see.
The reason why I'm a big Delap fan, he's come from Man City Academy, 1. 2, he's being signed from a Premier League team. So he's not coming from an outsourced league. All of the players that have come, apart from Haaland, who are strikers, they've not necessarily picked well, especially the ones who have been imported. Even Kai Havertz, he struggled in his first season. Look at Højlund from Manchester United. So for them to pick a striker from even Nkunku, so for them to pick a striker from a sitting Premier League team, it will bring a very big difference. So he's a very big pick.
Well, those are some of the done deals. However, we also have some speculated deals like Ryan Cherki all the way to Man City. We have De Bruyne moving to Italy, to Napoli. We also have Mike Magnan coming to be the goalkeeper at Chelsea, probably. These are just some of the speculated transfers. However, I'll be giving you much more on that on probably next week's show, right, Duncan?
Brian Bueno, you haven't mentioned anything.
I know you wanted to talk about Mbeumo because you like Manchester United.
No, I'm interested.
But I think,
I feel
I like Manchester United.
Mbeumo is desperate for Manchester United.
Let me tell you, the thing Manchester United lacks is players who are driven, players who are hungry. So for them to sign Mbeumo and this guy, Cunha, it brings a very big difference.
Mbeumo is old. You guys,
he's 25.
Yes, he's old.
No, listen.
He looks old, but he's 25.
But he's hungry. You see the problem with Manu, they are signing
Hungry for success, not just say hungry.
Yeah, for success. So you see, when Manchester United has been signing like very accomplished players, when you sign an accomplished player, he has nothing to fight.
Okay, so when Mbeumo comes, are you going to bench Amad Diallo from Mbeumo? Because they play the same position.
Injuries at the middle of the season.
What if he doesn't get an injury?
All the seasons he's played, he's got an injury.
As much as we are talking, I know you don't want to wrap up. Nobody's talking about Arsenal.
Yeah.
They don't want to sign.
Okay, Arsenal, I think the biggest speculation of Arsenal is Benjamin Sesko from RB Leipzig.
And
they need a striker.
It's still a what?
They are desperate.
You said it's a?
They still need.
No, you started, you used some word. It's still a?
Exactly.
They don't want to sign.
They don't want to sign.
They've signed a midfielder to replace Partey. What is his name? This guy.
Because of time. Because of time. What are we expecting?
Well, that's all. But one big one. Franco Masturtano, all the way from River Plate, Brazil. Probably the next best player in this world. Real Madrid are after him. PSG have been in Brazil for 3 weeks after his signature. However, still no one to get him. Big one. I tell you not, in the next 5 years, the best player will be Franco Masturtano, not even Lamine.
It gives the vibe of that young boy. What is his name? The young boy?
No. One coming to Chelsea.
The one in Real Madrid currently. The one who's not
Hendrik.
Yes, it's giving Hendrik.
Moving to Arsenal.
No. You see, Hendrik was one of the biggest players in Brazil. He came to Real Madrid, played 10 minutes.
Playtime. Atakalisha nani kiti? Hiyo ndo swali.
Same thing happened with
Anyway, tumalize funga zako.
Well, that's all I had for me in the transfer session. We'll be back with much more next week. Yeah, ni hayo tu kwangu.
Nilikuwa nani utaniambia?
Siwezi kuambia mambo ya basketball. Okay, basketball, okay. Remember, it's 1-1 Indiana Pacers and OKC Thunder. Yeah.
Washira, tufungie.
I cannot wait for police to win the league. Tutakuwa hapo Gor Mahia wakitupea God of Honor. And I think for football, it has been an entertaining season, both in the Kenya Premier League and in the EPL. And we can't wait to see what the Club World Cup has to give.
What's your red card?
My red card goes to anybody who feels that Kenyan Premier League coaches are not up to task. We need to really stick to our local-based coaches, but we also need to improve their capacity as a federation and as a government to make sure that we have coaches who are up to the task within our borders.
One of former bosses of the Football Kenya Federation came out one day and said Kenya doesn't have the talent.
No, why don't you just mention him?
Mention the name. You know, we're on live. The viewer wants to know the name.
There are several, so which one?
Nimalize tu. Former boss, that is Nick Mwendo. Jina ilikuwa imepotea.
Thank you.
That is Nick Mwendo came out one day and said, you know, Kenya doesn't have the talent. Ever since asema hivyo, tumekuwa tukijiuliza pia, do you have that quality? Do you have that quality that can deliver in the international stage? Because wasee kwa ground tunasema they start talent. Against Chad, barren draw. Tomorrow they are playing against Chad. Can we see that quality? So players need to come out and prove that, you know, there is that quality. We can deliver locally because tukiendea international players, people start complaining. Why are you calling this one? And we have a talent playing in the Football Kenya Federation. So the current players who are playing in the Football Kenya Federation need to prove themselves. Ikikuja ni CHAN. If they don't prove themselves, then when we start calling the international players, watu wanyamaze, si ndio? Haya, ni yangu ya Monday.
Well said.
Memaliza. See you next Monday. Here at TV47 Monday Blitz. My name is Duncan Mtua, Fred Arocho, Annette Washira, and Alan wamenisaidia. And thank you guys for watching. Goodbye.